Hello everyone and welcome to your last day of Reiki class. I'm so excited to be able to share this experience with you. Today's lesson is just going to be very casual. First, just to talk about the attunement process. Reiki is an oral tradition like I mentioned before, and there are certain symbols that were developed by Ushui and others, and those symbols, other people have added to those symbols over time. But in an attunement process, which is kind of the initiation rite in which these symbols are placed on your crown, they're placed on your hands, and they're placed all over your body visually, not written or anything like that. And the whole idea is that the master or the teacher has found that you have learned what you needed to in order to initiate to the next step, and they're passing on these symbols, which passes on this kind of lineage of knowledge, etc. A lot of interesting things might happen when you get attuned. I don't know if any of you worked with Moldavite before, but I feel like Moldavite has a similar energy in which it brings you to a higher vibration, and things in your life might change. Things that aren't aligned with you are going to be brought to the surface, because when you become attuned, you're also needing to go through your own self-healing too. And I think that's the important thing to always know, is that your self-healing is really important in this process, and to really take care of yourself as well. When you're setting yourself up as a business for Reiki, like I said before, it's really about setting the atmosphere, making sure there's pleasant music playing, making sure that there's incense burning or aromatherapy diffuser. You're giving someone a sensory experience. You're not just giving someone, Reiki you can do quickly and in the moment, but when someone comes to you to do a full session, I really feel that it's important the most important part about that aspect is holding space for that person. I always open my session with the tarot card reading, and that opens up the person to talking about what they're seeking through this experience as well. I think that, like I said before, being conscious of your personal code of ethics. I always say when I'm doing a tarot reading that it's not my job to make a decision for you, and it's not your guide's job to make a decision for you. Tarot is a tool that we're using to look at our life from a bird's eye vantage point to gain insight and clarity. But that idea of, should I divorce my husband? Should I go to school here or stay here? Should I move? Etc. Just really put that responsibility back on your client for that decision, and say, hey, this is the decision that you're thinking of. Let's go to the tarot. Let's look at what our guides are telling us is important to focus upon. And for me, I've understood that my job as a tarot reader is empowerment. So I'm always wanting to empower my client or my patron into being the best versions of themselves, to really align with their creative faculties, their personal power, and just knowing that they're valuable too. I think really instilling that idea of value in someone is very important. And I feel that part of the experience of Reiki is you're making someone feel beautiful, you're making someone feel in that moment undivided attention to that person, and you're also allowing that person to relax. I think that in our very high stressful society, it can be hard for a lot of people, myself included, to find moments of rest amongst the chaos, because that's so important, to find that time where you can allow yourself to relax and to get in touch with your body and your emotions and your feelings, etc. Again, here is a little guide on the chakras. Now, like I said before, I prefer not to use the term chakra because the the seven main chakras that we know in the West are not the original chakra system. There are actually very many. There's a chakra system where there's four energy centers: the crown, the heart, the abdomen, maybe the mind as well. Um, then there's more extensive Vedic chakra systems where you have 12 chakras all the way up to 144. Um, but I prefer calling them energy centers and using them as we always want to be conscious of appropriating other cultures, because this is a tradition that stemmed in a different culture. So there is basis of Buddhism and there are bases of Shintoism, which is the ancient religion of the Japanese. And so those two are very closely linked to this idea of Reiki, which to someone who grew up in that culture, these concepts may not seem as foreign, whereas in the West, it's something that we're learning. And these chakras that we learned now were brought over by the Theosophists, which were Westerners who were interested in Eastern spirituality, and they kind of adapted the chakras to fit an ideology that the Westerners would understand. Now, that being said, Reiki, even though it is a closed practice, it was brought to the West to be shared. So I think that we can remove any guilt of utilizing this, because it also isn't something that is, it's something that this one man developed. It wasn't not everyone in Japan practices this. There are other instances too with appropriation and Sikhism, with the Kundalini Yoga movement, which some of you may be familiar with. And I think, it's important to look at the problematic aspects of it, make sure that we're not colonizing or appropriating or disrespecting another culture. And also using the tools that are working for us and are going to help others. Like I said before, Reiki can also be put into objects. So if you're wanting to put them into your crystals, it's really easy. You can just place it in your hand, imagine. There's also a great way to cleanse your crystals. So if you're not able to cleanse them with smudge or water, you can cleanse your crystals with Reiki energy. And you can charge anything. You would charge a book, a letter before you send it. We'll also learn in Reiki 2, so just to give you a little field guide of what Reiki 2 will be all about, you'll learn distance Reiki, how to send Reiki at a distance. There's also other symbols that are involved there as well, and that is kind of the next step that I wouldn't say enhances your Reiki, because once you begin Reiki 1, you're having access to the same energy as everyone else. I think what increases is our ability to be sensitive to it and to help direct it more. And I just went through my third level, which I definitely recommend practicing for at least a year before deciding to become a teacher, because there is a lot of just personal stuff that you go through. And I definitely think the third attunement definitely awoke in me to a lot of things as well. For those of you who already have psychic gifts and abilities, this attunement will definitely help and assist with that. And yeah, just be conscious when you're making a business as well, that the idea is that it's an energy exchange, right? So money is energy, and money is not inherently good or evil. It's what we do with money, right? And so I always encourage people to be conscious when you're making a spiritual business. We're not here to manipulate people. We're not here to take people's money, but it's an exchange. And most of my students are doing either partial or full trade for this class, and I like very much incorporating a bartering system into my practice. Now, that being said, I don't always do full trades, but even just a partial trade, having a half price option so that someone who can afford your services will be able to come see you, and someone who can't afford your services, there's an option for them where they can either trade or make partial payments as well. Just because I want to make sure that no one is turned away because they can't afford your services. If someone really wants your services, and they're reaching out to you, you become a guide to them, and there's a responsibility in that. And so, that being said, don't I've given a lot of myself away, and realized that I do that too much sometimes with my energy, and I'm being more conscious of that. But I do encourage everyone to really use bartering. A lot of my students are also hair stylists, hair professionals, and I think they naturally understand that as well. They have a service that a lot of people need and want, and so they understand the value of trade with that as well. And the other thing that I'm going to end on with this lesson, is just that, since most of you have chosen to do the partial trade route, I challenge you. Now, this isn't a request, this isn't me saying you have to do this, but in my William Rand book, it mentions this, and I think it's a really good way to start, is that you should offer your first 10 services for free to friends, family, etc. This allows you to practice before starting to charge more, and it also opens you up to new clients who are curious about Reiki and may come to you again after that. And then he recommends, just have 10 sessions that you charge for free, and then you can work your way up, $20, $40, $60. Currently, I am charging $75 for my session, and that is kind of on the lower end of what other people are charging. I want to be doing more sessions right now, so that's why I have it priced at that way. A lot of people use 111 as a pricing strategy, or $100, etc. There are some Reiki practitioners who have been doing this a while, and they charge $200. But like I said, your energy, your value is up to you. I also have found that I like to offer different levels too. So if someone can't afford a full session, I might offer them a free quick session. So we don't go, into the full 90 minutes, but they still get quality time, and I'm still holding space for them. And I like the idea, I like having tarot as an option as well, because people reach out, and I have an oracle deck that I send. I can send a single card reading, and it doesn't take up too much of my time. And for me, I feel like that's, here's this little freebie that I can offer people who come to me for advice. Yeah, and I'll just end on just knowing that I am very honored that you guys chose to work with me as your Reiki teacher. I'm very excited about Reiki and what Reiki has to offer us, and what it has given me personally. The experience, the tools. I think it contextualizes a lot of other things that I do, so I put Reiki into my artwork as well. And just also opening us up to the idea of responsibility of being a guide. We're all at different levels of our spiritual journey, and once you learn a certain thing, or you reach a certain level, other people look up to you, and other people are listening to you and what you have to say. So just being conscious of that too. And I take it a responsibility being your teacher as well. There has been a recent conflict that I've had with another Reiki person in the community, because she has been very anti-vax, very conspiracy theory laden in her communications on social media. And I would just have to say that I trust that all of you, my students, are good people. However, if I see any of you posting anti-vax information, spreading conspiracy theories, or, you know, um, taking advantage of people, I will call you out for it. My love is not conditional, my love is unconditional, but my, I wouldn't say responsibility, but my responsibility as a teacher is definitely to protect, heal others. So I will confront things that I feel that are not appropriate. So just be conscious of that. Be very conscious of what you're spreading. I'm working on being more conscious about that as well. If you have any questions at all, let me know. We will find time to do everyone's attunement. That can also be done on FaceTime as well. We can send Reiki at a distance. So hope that's helpful for you. I'm going to be posting one more short video that will just be about advanced techniques, some things that we will be learning in Reiki 2, and I'm going to give you a symbol that you can use that traditionally is given in Reiki 2, but I want to give it to you now because I think it was helpful for me, and I think it'll be helpful for you. Thank you so much. I'm going to just send a little Reiki energy your way. And again, we thank our guides, our ancestors, our angels for always being here with us, connecting us. Thank you for allowing me to share this knowledge, and may we continue to grow and expand and learn. Namaste.